Hi.
Welcome back. What's up, Ryan? I stumbled on the young part. What a fucking show we had tonight. Welcome back to the Fish After Show, joined by Great Went, T, and our good friend Young Ryan. Kev, man, we're gonna start off right away with this shit.
Yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, ring that bell so you get all our great content.
Yeah, man.
You mean that shit?
Yeah, I didn't mean
Content
that.
is great. Can confirm.
Or do you mean the dinner and a movie after 2030 nights? Because that tweet I put was yesterday that it was 2029 days since
I
they
read your
played it.
tweet.
Yeah, of
You know,
course.
that's not even the longest gap. That's only the second longest gap. The longest was 242 shows between 97 and 2000.
Right.
There's a lot more shows than 2017 to the present.
But I just thought the years was neat because people have those signs.
is
so
that
many
I
days.
mean, this
And I
is
know-
the longest gap in terms of days, but that was the longest gap in terms of shows.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't
Maybe.
know. Because they played
that
a lot
was
of shows
3
between
years, this was
96
5
and
years.
2000, though. I mean, they don't play as much as they used to either.
Well, I
So-
don't
Correct.
think it was just the magnitude of the gap that made it special, though. It was the fact that we had this pandemic and we all kind of came together with a special broadcast they, coined dinner and a movie, and it became like this, I don't know, this special thing. And then they come back and they don't play it, and it almost felt very, purposeful that they were avoiding it. So now it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe for me it's like, all right, we can move on now, right? Like,
Well,
it
especially
was
because you
building
were,
and building
you
and
were
building.
complaining about if it was all the time, no one would like it. But I was looking back at like one point, man, they played it a ton back between
Oh, in the early 90s?
And
Yeah.
I saw it.
88 and 94, basically. Like it was
But
every other
I saw
show.
it 3 times in 91, but I've
Mhm.
never seen it since then.
And just to be clear, I'm not saying that people wouldn't like it or enjoy it. I just don't think people would be clamoring for it. Like, it's not a song that I think before this last couple of years I ever heard people chase. Right? Like, it was just like, it's nice, it's cool, it's like, but I think
Sure.
this was a special, unique situation for people chasing it or wanting it this time.
Yeah.
It's one of
Well,
those
I did-
uniquely Fish songs, though, that I feel like defines them.
Yeah,
It's
I
one of
mean, and
those-
I did loudly shriek when they opened with it.
Yes.
Like
Llama
a
is-
horror film shriek or like a little girl on her
Like a,
birthday.
like a
Kind of a combination of both.
both.
like a surprise and like, oh my god, they're playing dinner in a movie. Yeah.
Let's go to the replay. No. Llama is frolicking come to play. He is frolicking on the beach right now.
Yeah, I was
So
like,
we do not have him
Llama-
tonight.
Llama's busy.
Yes. Hopefully
Trying
very
to fix
busy.
his drink.
all right, and then
Right.
let's kind of go through this Loving Cup quick. I didn't really have anything to say with it, and honestly, the rest of the show is such fire. I don't think we
You
should
know
spend
what?
a ton of time
You know what
on
I
it.
wanted to say during the Loving Cup? Immediately noticing Trey. He's just fucking on this weekend so far. Like,
Yeah, especially guitar work wise. Vocally, there's been a couple of misses, and I'm not judging, but like I feel like his guitar playing is the cleanest I've heard in fucking a long time
since 2021.
since 2021. Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, Dinner in a Movie wasn't flawless. I think it was cleaner than the Baker's Dozen version, but I haven't, not that I've listened to that one recently. But in the Loving Cup, it was just like he really took his time with the solo. Like, he didn't rush into it. His phrasing has been so good, the way he's been leading the band. And I mean, we'll talk about that more when we get into the jams. So let's move into the jams.
Well, I think with Loving Cup too, I think it's one of those. I mean, it was a weird placement, right? And the 2 spot is an interesting.
The
spot
earliest
for it.
placement since Deer Creek 04, apparently.
And it's kind of, I don't know. To me, it's peak too. Like you'll never get a better one than that St. Louis one after they won the cup.
Oh.
And I'd always rather hear.
Well, I mean, that one was jammed out. Like, you're
Right,
not gonna do that.
exactly. Like
I
totally
love that
jammed
one.
out. Had that ridiculous jam in the middle of it, and it's one of those songs that I always, as a cover wise, like I'd rather than bring back like Life on Mars or something like that to play in that
Paige
spot.
can't sing
I
like
miss that so much, but I digress. Anyway, moving into like the jams.
Yeah, so
into
the
the jam.
first jam, and there were about six or seven by my count that you could consider really strong jams tonight. And the first of them was Wave of Hope, which I think has a pretty perfect batting average at this point, right?
Honestly,
This
since
was the
they started
best.
jamming it out last.
Yeah, the first
spring,
one they didn't. That one in April they didn't. that
Well,
they did on the New Year's
they
Eve
played it-
episode.
Deer
they
Creek was the
debuted
first
it
one they
last-
talked about.
They debuted it August 2021, and they played it at the Forum in 2021, and then April at MSG, and then they started jamming it
At
Deer
Deer
Creek.
Creek.
at Deer Creek. So they also had played it, I think at
couple
Orange
times.
Beach without
Right.
jamming, but the first jammed one was Deer Creek.
Yeah,
It was that was definitely the best half hour of the first set was the Wave of Hope and the next song.
Oh man,
which was Stash. You don't need.
Yeah.
I mean, we all saw it. There's no spoiler warning.
we don't.
But I
We're
didn't want to
talking
say
about it.
I didn't want to say I didn't want to say it and be accused of glossing over the
No,
Wave
let's
of
go
Hope.
back and
That's
forth.
fair.
It's fine. Keep it organic.
Trey, I mean, Page really stuck out to me in this Wave of Hope. Like his whirly work in this jam, really standing out. But
His
just
whirly work.
his whirly work, his work on the whirly. He was
He was
out
working
front
his whirly.
in this jam. Man, they were on all night. You know, Kev, you said like 6 incredible jams tonight.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that too. I mean, we were saying backstage, this is the first set of shows in the 40th anniversary year. So these are like the real start of this year's shows. And man, they have come out of the gate smoking. Like, I mean, it gives a lot of hope for what's coming,
God.
spring tour and summer tour. I mean, it's exciting because these are fire shows so far. So
Yeah.
you got nothing but good things to look forward to.
Yeah, night and day in confidence and assertiveness since the MSG run, honestly, especially from Trey. Like, you know, not only has the mix gotten a lot better, thank you, Vance Powell.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And thank you, Phish, for, you know, listening to our complaints after the MSG run and hiring Vance to do the webcast audio. I hope he sticks around because it sounds incredible.
So it is true that what I heard that Trey was watching has been watching Wook Plus, and he was like, "These guys, we need to." Hook
He
them up
comments on
and,
every video. You
like,
didn't
give
know
Vance a call.
Yeah.
yeah. So
fantastic Ruby Waves, and like we've said, I mean, just so much heaps of praise on it, but it's become the most consistent jam vehicle of.
and it wasn't
for
even the
them.
best wave song tonight. That's what's crazy. It was a phenomenal jam and not even the best
Well,
wave.
it was.
I would say it's the
best
second best
for me.
wave song of the night.
Yeah, but only inching them. You know, I think second and third place are probably close, but yeah.
Yeah.
So then the Stash, and I feel like
Mm.
Stash has, again, similar to Wave of Hope, had a very strong 4.0. 21 had some phenomenal stashes. 22 had a couple that were pretty good. I think this one is right up there with any of the
Plinko.
stashes.
They went Plinko on us.
I know, a little bleepy bloopy, and I love that. And they
A
did that
lot of
a couple
bleepy
times.
bloopy.
Yeah.
And then, like, I don't remember who initially steered it back into Stash. It was either Paige or Mike. And then Trey was like, no, like, we're not done with this yet.
He was very patient, though.
And it took it back
wasn't
out.
right. It wasn't one of those ripcord things. So they took it back out, played with it for a little, and flowed. I felt like landed right back in it, and you know, it wasn't one of those awkward transitions Trey's been doing, where he's like, "All right, the song's over, guys," and they're like, "Wait, what happened?" When
I didn't think there was any awkward outs tonight. I feel like all the segues and all the decisions, the whole band was on the same page the whole night, which is great.
Yeah, felt that way for sure.
And then we kind of, in my opinion, and this is funny because the next few songs, I think each of us had a different take, an opposite take on it. And so it's like, it's kind of a cool standard heavy things, nothing to write home about. And then I'm going to mash them all together and then you guys can pick out of them how you want.
cheesecake.
555.
Go
Kevin
through
and I
it.
were like, fuck this song. And T was rocking it. Axela, I was loving it. Kev was fucking hating it. And then Joy, we were loving it. And T was hating it. So it's like, I feel like there's something for everybody, but also triggering everybody. These were a very divisive part of the set.
2 out of 3 of those were great. Like I just like 555. It cracks me up. I'm a big 5 fan because my birthday's 5/5. So like I love it. It always whenever he busts it out, I think it's great. It's not his best song. It's probably maybe 5th best song, just to go with the 5s. But
Aha.
I'll
Do you
take
like?
it anytime.
Do you like songs about trains generally?
Yeah,
know what
of
it's
course. Back on the
Yeah,
train.
the 555 is a train. It's the
Always,
train that
yeah.
comes at
And all those.
555.
It's just like shining my light through the cool Colorado rain. I love
Yeah.
train songs. So
Did,
yeah,
did we just like change your whole life there? Wook, by telling you it's a song about a train?
I still don't care for it. I'm not a big Mike singing guy. Like there's a couple of
the only
songs I like.
transportation Phish song I need was played last night.
Cars, trucks, buses.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
I tell you what,
Primo.
Axilla.
Yeah, but
I
how
just-
can you hate Mike's? Like, I mean, between
don't like the
Mule,
lyrics.
Mike's song, there's some good Mike song. Yamar last night. I mean, Mike
I
has
like
Lamar's good,
555, but I get frustrated at the fact that they have only ever jammed it once.
Yeah, I would
rarely
agree with you.
fucks. But
Do
Like,
hold
something
on.
with it.
Let's slow down. We're jumping all over the place.
We
I'm
are.
going to respond to T, and then we'll go to Kev because he was going to say something. The problem is that he sings out of his range. He writes songs that are outside of his range, and I don't know why he does it, but he does it almost purposefully. Like he doesn't have to write the parts because he's the one writing them. A lot of them are the songs that he writes, and he's stretching for it and the strain, and he's pitchy on it, and it's super distracting. And it's not to say that Trey's not pitchy. Sometimes he was tonight even. But Trey's pitchiness is comfortable, right? Like it doesn't take you out of it. But Mike's pitchiness is such a distraction that even though like Mull, for example, is a cool song and like has a cool jam, when he's singing it, I can't get into it because I'm like, just stop singing, please, for the love of God.
I think
All right.
also we're more used to Trey's pitchiness and like, you know, when he like will like, you know, I mean, we'll get to zero when he like fucks with the octaves of the vocals.
He has to stop doing that.
He really does. But Mike, I mean, I feel like when Trey is like fucking around with the vocals, it's like, okay, Trey, stop. But like, it doesn't sound terrible.
That's
But-
very true.
Okay, Matt, no
Mike's-
need to
Mike's-
hate on Numberline here.
Mike's best song is obviously
Mike's song.
Big Black Furry Creatures from Mars.
Yeah.
Fuck your
And I don't
face.
know why that was not mentioned by
Travis,
anyone.
technically.
All right, so Kev, what were you saying? Because we were talking over each other about your hatred of Axela.
Oh, it's just the lyric. And, you know, years after they released it, and I was like, God, why don't they do the original one, which has such a cool lyric? I read that Tom Marshall hated it. And I was like, see, I was right all along. I knew that they should.
So you don't like the lyrics of 1 or 2?
I like the lyrics of 1, and I like the ending of 2. I think they should do Axela 3.0 and do the lyrics for 1 with the 2 ending tacked on it.
Mash them together and make a.
Didn't they
an
do that
actual
in Mexico
monster.
last year?
Yes. They did that a couple times. I called him once at USA Arena in 95 or something. They did it like that.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's just such a rocker. It's such a banger. I don't really. I mean, how often do you sit there and critique Phish lyrics to begin with, anyway?
Never.
Like,
I don't.
Never.
So
I really
Ever.
could not
I
give
would
a
rather
fuck.
just hear it rip. The thing that I didn't like was coming out of that and going into Joy, which we can get to because I know you have to get the slowdown song in there, but after Axela, it's like, come on, give me like a good times, bad times, or give me something that keeps me ripping in my head going. And
I had a
Yeah, or just
I had a
Throw
revelation.
the melt in after Axilla. Just like play the Axilla jam
Skip
for
the
5 more
Joy.
minutes.
No,
And
but
then throw in the melt.
here's the thing
Which one
about
melts?
ballads though is you have to earn them. Like Phish has to, because if you put song to song, I would choose Joy over Shade anytime, right? Like I
You got 'em
love
both.
Joy, but tonight I enjoyed the Shade placement because they earned it with the Ruby Waves. Coming out of the Ruby Waves, I needed that breather. Coming out of fucking 555 into Axela, I wasn't ready for a Joy. I wanted something that, you know what I mean? Thank you, Tony. I really appreciate the
Tony rules.
generosity there.
Tony rules.
So like I think Joy as a song is a great fucking song. I just don't think they earned that spot yet.
Yeah.
And
Do you
then
want
the
to talk
melt.
about this melt though?
I do want to talk about
I
this.
do want to
melt.
talk about the
I
melt.
want
My
to melt
God.
on this melt.
I fucking love melts, and this one was. It was probably.
That's why you
until
started
this-
the bracket, right? Because you love melts.
It is, but no, I was thinking during the melt, I was like, wow, this is like one of my more enjoyable Phish experiences in a long time. Like, you know, in the last year, just sitting and watching. And I'm not saying it was the best jam or anything, but I was just so into it. It was so much fun. And then, of course, the second set, it just, you know, went even further and
Kept
above
going,
and
yeah.
beyond that.
But
My
that
favorite
got
thing
out
about
there.
my favorite thing about Melt is no matter how far it gets out there, how much it falls apart, they find those 3 notes. They're like doom, 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 and you're like, all right, We landed. It's cool. They took us back. You
We're
know.
here.
back, which is like the Gen 2 tonight, which we'll get to, but the same thing, like it comes back into it after you get, and that was more of a jammy jam. This one got broken down like into that space.
Blissful, spacey.
Yeah.
Well, but also, what was interesting too is they started with this kind of more blissy mode, where they went into this like underwater kind of feeling space, and then from there they moved into what we've come to expect from Melt, like that kind of disintegrated dissonance.
They moved from the
Crazy
seaweed
space.
to the slime.
Yeah,
Kinda, yeah.
very, very, very well put, Kev.
You're witty motherfucker, you.
And
Oh
with
man.
that,
And
We
then
had
they
set
went
break.
to set break. So this is where we typically try to remind everybody to like this video. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel.
Like
we
it.
do after shows after every Phish show and Dead & Co show this year.
Wow.
And occasionally we might do a
Mm.
couple of Goose shows, although I don't want to step on your territory.
yeah.
Also,
Oh,
check out Ryan's
long as you're
podcast.
not-
What
As
that?
long as you're not doing them the day after at 3:00.
No, we're 15 minutes
Yeah.
after Encore.
Ryan,
That's
you had somebody really cool on your pod yesterday. Or the other day? Why don't you mention that?
Well, yes, it was last week. We had Peter from Goose on Always Almost There. We were talking about the Jam of the Year bracket. It was very exciting.
That's cool. Can you imagine
Check
getting
it out.
Trey on a show to talk about a Phish bracket?
That's the dream. That's the
right.
dream. Trey coming on the show to talk about the Phish bracket, having listened and
Actually-
been following along with said Phish bracket.
Although, to be fair, if Trey decided to come on like Wook Plus, I don't think I would talk to him about the bracket.
No, exactly. Of all the things,
I'd be
to
like,
talk
tell
to
me
Trey
about Kid
the
Rock.
bracket is not.
I'd be like, tell me about hanging out with Kid Rock in Vegas.
So is the Goose bracket wrapping up this week?
It wraps up on March 7th. It ends
Okay.
right before the cap run kicks off. We timed it. We kind of rushed the production of the bracket a little bit so we could start it in time so it would finish the day before they started playing again.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get into this second set. Right
Yes.
into all the housekeeping, Kev, right? You're the guy
Yes,
that.
that's all the housekeeping. Tomorrow night we'll see you again.
Oh, and actually Wednesday night we got a live stream. We have a whole panel of guests coming on. We're gonna have a game night. So check it out.
Oh,
Yeah, it's gonna be really
yeah.
fun.
I heard about this and I'm gonna miss it and I'm
I'm
sad.
gonna do my best creepy game show host
No, you're not.
impersonation.
No, you're not. Definitely not.
Gonna get
doing
my
that.
Richard Dawson on.
All right, so they come out with First Tube. It's kind of like another upside down set. They've been doing these things a lot lately.
The first tube in any opening or closing or encore position, as we've talked about, is a great place for it. Like it either gets you
Yeah.
going and gets you set up for what's coming, or it's a great way to end it and go out. So it's it's great. And it's set tonight. It set the table for what was to come in the second set, which is always great. So
It was
Yeah,
interesting. Oh, Kev.
I was gonna say I thought we were gonna get something more banging out of it than what we did end up getting out of it. But First Tube is I'll take an instrumental any day of the week. You can stick it anywhere. I would like to see one in the middle of the set sometime out of a Raging Tweezer or something.
Interesting.
totally, like coming out of a jam and just have it thrown in there somewhere, and then because it's always like we said, it's always a lead or a close somewhere.
Yeah.
It would be fun to see it in the middle of a set.
I feel like that's where it works best. But yeah, it would be interesting to see. Definitely, Kev, I agree with you that Waves felt like a little bit of an odd move following up with the First Tube. I was looking for something more, I was expecting something like a Carini or a Tweezer, something
It
like
was
that.
more like a wave crashing.
Yeah. But I mean, what they then went on to do. I was
brilliant.
okay with it.
I think I kind of didn't like the First Tube in the opener spot. I feel like you could start with the Waves, build it up, and it would have been much better. And I kind of always, I mean, I know it's cliche and we've seen it a million times, but I always like First Tube ending with, the Jedi pose at the end of the show. And like, I don't care if it's cliche, it's fucking brilliant. And it gives me goosebumps every time I see it. So it's like, just leave it there and give me the big ass, screechy climax. But
I am the god of rock guitar.
yeah, I mean, he kind of is. So, the Waves Jam was
It
really good,
interesting.
though.
Yeah, it got some interesting places.
Everything was really good. We now have we official timestamps. The show's up on live Phish now.
Yeah, so we have 15 minutes for the waves.
15 minutes for the waves. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was a bunch. So actually, since we're talking timestamps, they would hit a lot of the 15 mark. Wave of Hope, Stash, Melt were all at the 15 mark.
Yeah.
Waves was at the 15 mark, and then those were all the longest jams until we got into Ruby Waves, which was, I think we could all agree, the highlight of the night, the most epic jam, and that got
100%.
to 19.
Right.
that had
'cause they aren't going
everything.
past 20 this year.
Live Phish claims 20 minutes and 33, but I think there was a little bit of space at the
There was
end
dead
before
air, yeah.
shade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we could round up to 20. It's fine. I thought it was
No,
19.
we
It
can't
was
round
around
up to
20.
20. We're
Kevin
round-
refuses. He's going with his no 20-minute jams all year. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, 1950 maybe.
What is
but-
this? What is this? 2010? Like,
Yeah.
We're gonna
I
get a
think.
few.
So we
And
had
then-
some new effects, I think, some new guitar sounds coming in.
Can you explain that, Ryan? Didn't you dig into
Um,
that a little?
Well,
the thing that was different in his rig visibly tonight from last night was he has the boomerang back, which is his like looper and iconic, like it's part of his iconic sound. It's kind of harder to describe. But he didn't have it. He's been using this like smaller rig since the beginning, like since after Dick's, which is normally like, what we figured to be is like tab rig, which is like a self-contained pedal board instead of his big switcher with like the rack of pedals behind him. And like, more stuff which he was using with Phish in the past. We saw this smaller pedal board with tab, with Taboose, and then with Phish and MSG in December, which was kind of a weird move, going with the pared down rig. Not sure why. And so, yesterday, kind of disappointed to see that with no boomerang, but tonight the boomerang showed back up. I don't know if he like got it express couriered from Vermont or like somebody flew down with it or like
They found one. They
but
found one in a
decided
pawn
not to
shop.
have it.
They
Yeah,
found one in
exactly. A pawn shop in Cancun, like
outside of
"Need
El
this
Campo.
boomerang."
They sent someone into Mexico to El Campo, and it was
Yeah.
right
so
outside
yeah,
of that
according
bar.
to Jason, it got a lot of work tonight too.
It did. So the boomerang is what that sound on the guitar, though, we were getting, right? Is
No.
that what was?
I don't know which sound you're talking about.
But yeah, so I was. We're gonna do a follow-up microdose on it because we could provide samples and it'll be way more clear than us just trying to sing random guitar sounds.
Perfect.
But there's a wipeout sound that they introduced last night that came
Yeah.
back in Gin tonight. That's not what I was talking about in the Ruby Waves, though. There was a different effect that was new. But he has programmable effects on his thing that, like, you know what I mean? There's infinite options that he can put in there. I was just saying with the Ruby Waves that it wasn't full-blown Plinko bloopy bleepy, but he did start to play with different effects in it. And then my other note, and the last thing I was going to say about Ruby Waves was I thought this had the best interplay between the band members of the night. And honestly, I haven't heard them play that tight and have that kind of interplay in a long time. Like they've had really epic jams, but this was kind of a return to that,
Last
that
year in
very
Mexico.
tightness. Yeah.
It really felt like this Ruby Waves really felt like so cohesive. Like it felt like, Trey was leading some of the jams in the first set, or Paige was leading in the Wave of Hope. But this Ruby Waves felt like that cohesive 4 parts of the same brain.
Yeah, exactly.
That we love from Phish. And yeah, you're right. Like we haven't heard cohesion like that for a lot of the year. Like there's been more egalitarian jams, but I feel like they haven't locked in like that very many times.
I think that some of that has to be credited to Phish too, because when he really steps in and locks in and is on the same wavelength with Trey, especially, but honestly with the whole band, I feel like it locks everybody in. And I don't know, maybe that's just coming from the drum mindset, but like I noticed that he was really locked in and pushing in this jam. And like you said, Trey and Paige were leading a lot of the earlier jams, and I felt like him stepping up to where they were at really gave a balanced sound to the jam.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean Mike was great too. We're not trying to forget about Mike.
Listen, he was out there tonight. Like he was doing shit. He wasn't.
Thanks
he
to
wasn't
Vance, we
being
could
passive.
hear him.
Yeah, it makes all the difference.
It does.
All right,
Stop
and
with
then
the shade.
Then the shade.
Shade was good. Chalked
Darren
up.
did, so I was okay with it. But I'm not a huge Shade guy.
I love Shade, but
I love the
we don't need to talk about
actual
it.
thing.
But it's a lie, as they proved during the sound check when they had
Right.
the umbrella over them.
And then after Shade, we got a jammed out Chalk Dust, which was fucking great.
Is 11 minutes jammed out for Chalk Dust?
It's not about the time; it's about whether they jammed it out or not, which they did.
Right.
It was very type 1.5 throughout. Like it didn't totally depart until the last couple of minutes, I think. But it was
enough to take notice.
yeah.
Right. Like, because Chalk Dust is a song that, it kind of zone out and not pay attention, not because it's spacey, but because it's usually so type 1 and you've heard it so many times exactly the same. And this was one where like you kind of aren't paying attention, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, that's interesting. They're doing something different with it.
It was the first 4.0 Chalk Dust, I believe, that wasn't finished. They've been finishing it in 4.0. I think that was the first time they didn't finish it.
Look at you with your stats. Love
Good
it.
shout, Kev.
He's just guessing.
he talks very confidently, so
Right, exactly. So you don't really know if he's bullshitting or not.
You know what I learned from Johnny Depp's Willy Wonka is confidence is key.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say work your whirly. Willy Wonka's working whirly.
Willy worked his whirly.
Oh.
And then it was very nice into the gin there. It's gin is a fun place to find yourself, I think, at the end of the jam.
And then Jen, I thought that was my favorite jam of the night. Like I really liked where that went and how what they did with it. That was my highlight personally, like just because I'm not a huge Ruby Ways fan, and you can talk about that jam all you want, but I personally like the Gin Jam the most. The Gin Jam, and usually do, and it was fantastic. And then just like Melt, when they come back into it, it's always so fun to hear how they come back into it or where that point is that Trey brings it back around. And it was great tonight. Like it didn't sound forced, it didn't sound clunky. It came right back into it and was a hell of a way to end that set. So almost got a 5-song second set there of 6 songs, which was awesome, and a great 6. I mean, you almost could have gotten.
If you had to left Shade out, you had to left Shade out.
I
know. That's what I'm saying. If you canceled Shade out, you would have had a banging 5-song second set there.
But with this gin, like Trey was really laying into the rhythm guitar on this one, like not playing a ton of notes, like really doing a lot of chordal stuff, and it was just like
which is awesome.
Really
to your point, like
groove.
Not playing a lot of notes. It's like those things where it's the words not said and it's the notes not played that really fill in those gaps and really like make it something. So it was cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna definitely need some re-listening tomorrow before I slot these in my Jam of the Year playlist.
Yeah, I think this is a show that will get a lot of re-listens. It definitely has some re-listenability to it.
So
and
much
then,
left. I was going to say, and there's still so much left on the table. I mean, just thinking what they haven't done.
Yeah.
You know?
For 2
nights.
nights.
I hit
2 nights.
I hit 4.
Yeah, whatever. Go away.
Shoot tonight.
Shoot fly.
But
what are you talking about?
We played Fingo and I got 0 tonight.
Oh,
even though I was like joking about Waves and all those songs and Dinner and a Movie and tweeting that they're going to play them, I didn't put them on my card.
Such a like isolated niche thing that has nothing to do with what we're here to talk about.
Just talking about what I picked, but still, like Mike's Groove, Carini, Tweezer, Disease, all these things still on the table for the next 2 nights.
Yeah, no
man's...
llama gets a llama. That's all.
No, man.
want.
I really hope he gets a llama. That would be amazing.
I mean, he's gonna get a ghost. I would expect a ghost.
Oh, right, ghost.
Sure,
No ghost. No Yam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yam, I feel like is less like.
You know, Phish has like 500 songs and they've only played 2 nights, right? I mean, we can list the catalog. I'm sure that's why people tuned in.
Black dress.
we're getting a bunch of things crossed off the never played in Mexico list too. We got 2 last night, and then we got Stash tonight. So hopefully we'll get like a Maze instead of the Bowie this weekend to cross Maze off, because I think that's another one.
Have they not played Maze in Mexico?
I don't think so. I think that's on the list.
Yeah, Antelope's on the list, I think.
Yeah,
That's ridiculous. The fact that
So-
like Maze, Stash, and Antelope all weren't
you'd
played in
think,
Mexico.
right? It's interesting, that list.
What?
And still no, real big cover either bust out like they've done the last couple years too, with Little Feat songs and things like that. So maybe tomorrow night's that night for that
They've
too.
only played 3 sets too. I mean, we
Yeah,
still
but
have
still.
4.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, but
The
still
Little
3
Feet
sets.
cover was on night 4 last year.
True.
Yeah. All right.
And then the Encore got a Golgi, right? Like, who doesn't like that?
Golgi
Yeah.
0.
Love
And
it.
that 0 was fun, except for the fucking
Trey
pick
butchering
an
it.
octave, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why he did that at Dick's last. I mean, he's done it a bunch of times. But
He
it's
likes
just-
it. He's singing. He
I
gets
think-
excited and then he does that.
As you get older, your voice changes, and maybe he's trying to figure out how to sing the damn song because his voice is changing.
One
Maybe.
day you're gonna see hair under your arms, and your voice is gonna change.
Your balls are gonna drop. Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna notice the pretty girl looking at you, and you're gonna try to sing 0 in an octave that's a little bit too high for you.
It's like when he, like Sample or like Gumbo, when he just like tries to sing it high but just can't,
yeah.
and then he like goes between the normal and the high. It's just sing the song.
Well, last night Kev had a problem with the 46 days closing the show, and I mentioned like I always hate when 0's the closer of the show, and tonight we got the 0 as the closer, which man, at least you got the Golgi in front of it, which I'm always for, and a 2-song encore is fun, but again, I can always do without.
So, what do
0.
you not want to hear tomorrow night for the closer?
That's a good question.
I.e., pick the encore.
Antelope?
Well, let us
I don't
let us
I
know in
don't
the
wanna hear
comments
Antelope.
what you thought of tonight's show, what your highlights were, what your lowlights were. And tune back in tomorrow, 15 minutes after Encore. We'll be here once again to break it all down for you. Ryan, thanks for joining us. This was a lot of
Thanks
fun.
for having me.
Yeah,
Always
this
a
was
pleasure.
great. I will see you guys next time.